Hi, you're listening to the General Conversation Podcast. I'm Valerie.
This is Cord.
And this is episode 5. Please follow us on Twitter at General_podcast and on Instagram at the General Convo Podcast. We want to thank you all for our new subscribers and people who have been subscribing and sharing it to their friends. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We also are on some new platforms which we're really excited about. We're on Anchor, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and Google Podcasts. And we may be adding more distributors to the list. We'll keep you guys updated through social media as well as on YouTube. We also have some really cool merchandise on Teespring, and you'll find that link below. You can just click on that link, browse. We have mugs, sweatshirts, t-shirts, stickers, and some really cool fun sayings on there. So you guys check it out. Normally I have a word of the day for you all, but I did want to take this time out to send condolences and thoughts and prayers to the people who were affected by the tragedy in New Zealand. I want to say that we really believe that hate is not the answer, and love will always prevail in the end. So that's the message we want to put out there. Even though we joke and we kid and we talk about real life issues, that's a very serious situation. And being hateful and believing in stuff, nobody wants you to hurt anybody. So if you think that's what it is, then no. All right, our topic today is: should coming from a 2-parent household environment make you? Should that excel you in life or in society? Cordero, thoughts on that?
I think the perception is that you should, but I think we all know that that's not necessarily the case. I think we have cases that, just some people looking at family, somebody had two parents and the kid just didn't turn out the right way, or, start doing real crazy stuff. You're trying to figure out what's going on with you, dude. Right. You got both your mom and your dad. You ain't got to do it like this. So, we got lots of suburban thugs, if you will.
Right. Right. I have, I come from a 2-parent household, and first of all, people are people. Your parents are just that, they make mistakes, and so I don't think that that should be all it is. Okay, you come from a 2-parent household, so you should succeed. And I know it's because I get that a lot. I get oh, well, you got your mom and your dad. Yeah, that's what I know. That I guess you can say that's a luxury, because I know the statistics are not in favor for people to stay together and raise, marriage, divorces at a very high rate. It's more prevalent than people get married, or even get married in the beginning. But I think life happens, and it depends on what kind of person you are. I do think that having both my parents in my life has helped me, but I don't know if it helps me more than any other person. I think it depends on your drive and your passion. But I do get that a lot, and it irks me when people say that, oh, well, you don't know what it is to struggle, or not really struggle, but they say little comments that I'm because in the fact that I have both of my parents, that everything should be great. And I'm well, no, you don't know my life. You just looking on what statistically, I guess that should be the case. But, people go through stuff. Like I said, parents are human. They're just like anybody else. But I will say my dad has given me insight a little bit into men. And so, and then even to my mom. So, I think it just depends on the parent. If the parent's going to be there and show up and kind of guide you through life and through maybe the situations that they didn't do too well in, and then they can say, well, I didn't do it too well, look out for certain things. Because you know what, you can grow up with 2-parent household, and they can paint a picture everything is okie dokie, that, living through seeing things through rose-colored glasses, and you get into the world, and you're oh my God, this is not, you so blind, you so sheltered into what life is really like. And so you let people pull the wool over your eyes because you're not privy to what's going on. And so, but I actually, that's a pet peeve of mine. I hate when people try to suggest things because, your dad or your mom just stay still together. So y'all, I feel like I know what marriage is about. I feel like through them. Maybe not to, of course I'm totally different than my parents, but I see what it is to work through something and try to stick it out. And I think that is what out of everything that they've taught me, or that I don't even think they came in thinking like, okay, we're going to stay together for the kids. I think it was like love. And then it was like, okay, we're going to thug it out, do the good and the bad times, and not just hopping on the next. Because I do know a lot of people in my generation is like, oh, you did this? Okay, I'm out,
They don't want to put in that work.
Well, it takes work, and so I feel like on that part, I will say that I see that it takes work to put in a relationship. But I also see things that I did not like, and I think it was more of because my parents came up through a different generation. I have older parents, so that's another thing too. I'm like, some things I feel like, I don't know if me and my sister had this conversation, if we would have, not saying my dad did anything or my mom did anything, but certain things that like now I'd be like, no, because why? Because like we're in the workforce, we do all this stuff, and so I think back then maybe it's kind of like their focus is on like staying with the husband and kind of taking care of the kids and progressing their stuff. Like having that family was maybe like a prevalent thing, like that was what you did, whereas now we have many more opportunities in the workforce. So maybe that's the reason why people stay together back then. But like I said, I feel like for me, it doesn't mean that I excel any more than my other friends. I think if you want something in life, regardless of where you come from, you can be in foster home, not have be in the system and come out on top. So I think it depends on your drive once you get old enough to know what you want in life and start to make that path for yourself. But I do think, yes, it does help to have certain influences in your life to say, hey, if you come through a little roadblock or something happens, that you can see, you have a visual picture of what it looks like to love somebody, to work through something and move past it, or just to hang in there like, we in this for the long haul. We're not in it for 2 seconds. Oh, you said something I don't like, now I'm on to the next person. So I guess in that sense I can see like, yeah, maybe I do have a certain aspect of marriage and what it is to stay in there. But on the other side, I don't think it has excelled me in any, like, I don't think like, oh, I walk around like I got 2 parents. So, it's 4 of us kids, and we're all different. So, I guess I would have to ask my siblings how they felt about it. But I don't think it excelled us more than anybody else. I think that, because you can have a single mom or a single dad, and they can be raising a child of the opposite sex, and they can bring in sisters and aunts that can help them, with certain things that they need to be successful in life. I think teachers, it takes a village. Teachers can help. I have some teachers that I credit to the way I wanted to pursue school. I have activities that I were into growing up, sports and things like that, that made me, like, kind of molded me. So it takes a village, and to kind of, like I said, excel you, not just like your parents.
I'm gonna say this. I feel like trifling parents are trifling parents. Because like she was saying before, I would agree with you on, it's not necessarily a 2-parent versus 1-parent type thing. I think it's more so how you do raise a child, because I come from a mixed parents situation. So, and people that know me, everybody, oh, he's this, he's that, but I didn't know, because I'm not in the streets or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. How you say that word?
Statistically.
That word. Speaking, if you look at it like in my situation, I should be maybe out in the streets doing whatever.
Right. Or not knowing how to treat a woman.
Yeah, I have a bunch of different kids running around, but that's not necessarily the case. No, I know a bunch of well-off individuals who kids act a fool, or you got, or we've seen the whole rich kid syndrome where they got both parents, they got well off, they got a lot of money, and there's no reason why they should not excel. There's no reason why they should be out here in the streets doing whatever they're doing, but they still choose to do it anyway.
And that's a lack of parenting. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a lack of parenting. It's a lack of parenting. It's just some of the things that I've seen some 2-parent, kids say to their parents versus what I could say to mine. It don't mix right. It just
do tell. Like I've never, like, that's how I said, that's the parenting part, because I wish I would talk crazy to my mom and dad, and I'm grown. I wish I would go in there and I know what's the, let me tell you.
He's stuttering now.
I would not, look, I already stuttered, but I would not be on this podcast. I'm telling you, like, I think too, And you see things when you grow up. You see things that, like when you, okay, so I said this, had this conversation before. Growing up, you know, you look at your parents like they're superheroes. They can't do no wrong for the most part, I think. And I'm just going to speak for me. I looked at my dad and my mom like, oh my God, like, of course, whatever they told me, I believed it. I'm like, yeah, man, like, of course they know. They're the parents, and, you know, they're going to tell you right and wrong and how to go about things in life, and you know, they raise you a certain way, the way they feel best, okay? And then sometimes when you get older, you start saying things like, well, they told me this, but that's not necessarily right, or I can make my own decisions on this. And, or, you know, like I said, they was raised a certain way, and maybe they raised me me and my sisters and brothers a certain way. And then, you know, we look at it like what they say is golden, but when you get older, you do come to realize like, oh, I have my own mind. I have my own thought process, and no, I don't necessarily believe this or whatever. And so you kind of realize, like, maybe your parents don't know everything. There's a turning point, I think, when you get older. You start to realize, like, like, maybe everything they say is not, like, golden, and maybe I got to start, making my own decisions for myself in certain regard, or having my own opinions about things, right? And then you get to a point where you get a little bit older. Well, even though you don't agree with your parents all the time, there's definitely a respect level there. Like, there's not one thing that I'm never going to be disrespectful to my parents. Even if I didn't agree with them, like, that's never going to happen.
Just walk away. Just walk away.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, definitely walk away if you're in an argument. But it's not going to be a point, because like I said, the upbringing that I have, I'm never going to be disrespectful, because even though I don't agree with my parents on certain things, if that was the case, I would never be disrespectful. Like, what's the point in that? Like, you grow. That's how you know you're an adult, when you can sit there and be like, okay, I don't agree with this situation, or I can't believe we was raised like this. If it was whatever it is, you know, something unorthodox or whatever. But that's why you get older and you make your own decisions for yourself, and you start to kind of mold your life, and you find a mate or whoever. You have friends that kind of have your
like-minded.
You're like-minded. You kind of have you get your friends, and you get people around you that kind of, you know, but like, I guess you guys have the same, like you said, like-minded. They have the same ideas about certain things. And I'm not saying all your friends have to be like that, but you know, you tend to get with people that you can kind of vibe with, if you know, say it like that. So, yeah. But like I said, when you come back to your parents, there still should be a respect thing there. And that's how I was raised. Like I said, it was like around, I want to say, maybe like high school, I started realizing, like, my dad would say this. I'm like, I don't think that's right. Like, I can start putting stuff together in my head.
Well,
like,
I think they're applying what they're telling you to the time period where they were growing up, and just like your parents didn't all agree with what your grandparents said, because they only can apply it to the time period they grew up. So like now, it might be some things that you just don't. Hey, that don't work no more. This don't work no more. Things like, and it's not necessarily them being wrong. They can only apply it to how they grew up during that time period. This is what it was back then.
That's what I said. Like, I might not agree with it, but I think it's cool. One thing I think is coolest thing is like having conversations with my parents, and like them telling me story how it was back in the day or whatever, and I just be like, you know, just cracking up and laughing, like, really? And then able to like bring them forward to like how stuff is now, and just have them like, I just never thought y'all, you know, these kids these days. I mean, if I don't hear that enough when I'm talking to my parents,
and it's
just so funny. It's like a shock to them and stuff. I mean, it's a shock to me to some of the stuff I see too, but I think that's just life or whatever. But I think you can, like you said, it's definitely a time frame that where, okay, in this period it probably was like this, and things have changed so much. So yeah.
One thing I did kind of want to mention about that whole with the kids thing, kind of back to trifling parents and things like that. That's kind of I know it's kind of near and dear to my heart a little bit, simply because you have a lot of baby daddy, baby mom situations going on, and then you know you got, oh man, she won't let me see my kids versus he's not helping me out versus, you know, it's kind of going back and forth, tit for tat. And the reason I kind of want to bring that up, because I feel like a lot of parents out here these days, if they're not together, they make it about themselves and not about the child.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I come from a mixed parent, if you will, situation, to where no matter what the situation was, it was always about the kids first. Like, we never really saw them argue. We never saw them. If there was an argument, we didn't see it.
Yeah.
If there was a disagreement or they got to a child match, we never saw, or I never saw it.
Yeah.
And they always made it about the kids, even from the steps to somebody being out of town coming in for the summer. It was always about, okay, are the kids cool? Are they having fun? Are they learning anything? Just certain situations like that. So that's why I always got. That's why I know it can be done. It can work.
Yeah, I think it depends on the maturity level. Like, hopefully, like, even if you get with somebody, because let's say you guys get married and it don't work. Okay, when you're in love with somebody, it's different when you're in love with somebody and you guys are working and everything is peaches and cream and the kids, you can raise the kids seemingly together and everything. But when you guys break up, I mean, that's a whole nother situation because people are still probably in their feelings. Even if you done moved, this could be years. Like, I know situations for a fact. People it's been years. Kids almost grown. And they still got like having an attitude.
A whole attitude.
Going up against each other. And it's like, what y'all fighting about now? Like, does it even matter? Like,
your mama gonna be there. I ain't coming, she gonna be there. Like, really?
Like, y'all gonna be fighting forever. Like, it's gonna be a problem. It's like, just if the kids are the focus point, and you guys can get past the little other stuff that y'all got going on, if y'all not together, the child will really appreciate it. It's going to go better for the child. Because you know what? The child's like, okay, I'm torn in between the two. And so I said for your case, when you say you had a mixed childhood growing up, you had mature people dealing with you. And that's what I'm saying. If you can get with a person that's mature, even that's how you know somebody was mature. Even when y'all not together and you still like, okay, so you're going to pick up so-and-so at this time. Okay,
right.
Great. Move on. If you can keep it like that, it's...
and it takes all the adults involved. You can't just...
Both of
like,
them.
if you get with somebody and they like, well, I don't really want to deal with your child, you probably shouldn't be with that person because the child, it's a package deal, whether they like it or not. So I think that you're going to have to deal with that child on some level. Don't let anybody ever tell you, well, you can get with me, you don't have to worry about my son or my daughter, I got them. Like, nah.
Run. If they say that, run.
Don't ever let them, because you are going to have to deal with that little girl or little boy on some level sooner or later. So if you're not serious about that, just
and I'm just going to say this. If I was dating a guy and he told me don't worry about my kids, it wouldn't even be a conversation. Like, I'm like, so don't worry about your kids because why? Like, are you not with them? You don't take like what you doing? Like, it's gonna make me feel like, okay, you're not taking care of your responsibilities. We don't even need to have a conversation. You don't need my number. You can lose that. Don't call me. Like, things happen. Things don't work out. But when a child does not ask to be here, all we, as kids, we just look up to you and we just hope that you give us good guidance and you protect us the best you can. And that's all that you're supposed to do. Like, feed us, of course, and clothe us, but. Like, we're not asking you to be perfect. Kids, let me tell you, kids are resilient and we'll go through stuff. And if you can turn it into something positive, if it's something kind of negative or you can work through it, kids will do that. They'll find a way to, I don't think kids ever really look at their parents like, oh, this person is just so horrible. Because if you try with a kid, that's all kids want is for you to try to them and give them some attention, And I feel like if you do that, you doing something right. Like, let's focus on that. Like, focus on being like a good person.
And I say like this: always be careful because they always watching you. How you
Lord,
how you handle situation. You might think you might be in your feelings then, but
your mama ain't nothing. Your daddy ain't nothing.
Your daddy ain't. Watch how you speak because they are always watching. You keep saying men ain't this, men ain't that, or you keep saying women try for this, women hoes that, and then what ended up happening is he's gonna grow up with that mentality, or she's gonna grow up with that mentality. He's gonna just carry on from that situation on, and well, this is how I was raised, and then now you got. Young thugging out here, or young thotty out here in the streets with that mentality that you gave him. On how to handle certain situations, how to handle certain men, we deal with a lot of domestic violence these days too. So,
God, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Fellas, you put your hands on females. Or
never do it.
And females, you get in men's faces. Don't ever.
Don't do it, women either. Like, listen.
Don't ever think jump in front of a man's face is not good. Putting your hands on a female is not. Period. So
this
don't ever
is my
give
motto, and I
that.
tell this to people I talk to. I tell it to my sisters. I tell it to friends. If I got to put my hands on you, we don't need to be together. That's not a good look at all.
Because if you do it too many times, like if you are a female and you have a daughter and you get up in a dude's face, she's gonna think that's okay to get in a dude's face. And we all know not every dude out here was raised right. So
they be knocked you out. They be knocked you out. Back you out.
Cold cocked you. And then a lot of times the same thing with dudes. You got a lot of like domestic violence situations where if you put your hands on a female, your little boy or whatever, he's watching that, and your little girl may be watching that. She might think, well, if he hit, daddy hit my mom, that must be okay, and it ain't. They
that's
always watching y'all.
And that's unfortunate. They always watching.
I say treat your. I say like this. Treat whoever you're with or whatever situation you got going on like you want somebody to treat your daughter or your sister or your mother. That's a good thing to say. If you don't want nobody hitting on your mom, if you don't want nobody hitting on your mom, don't put your hands on.
And if it's getting heated, I mean, just speaking on the domestic violence part, if it's getting heated, it ain't never wrong with walking away or leaving. And I know sometimes people try to stop you from leaving, which I think is asinine. I'm like, why? If they trying to let them leave, I'm not chasing nobody. So like, let them cool off. I mean, they say can't nobody hurt you like the person that knows you well or you've been you intimate with, or and I don't mean just sex. I mean just know what buttons to push, and things will escalate. That's just something that happens when you're arguing, but it shouldn't escalate to the point you put your hands on each other. And both ways are wrong. Both ways are wrong. And if you got a man that's walking out, ladies, let him go. You can text him later and cuss him out. No playing. I kid. All caps. You yelling at him. I said what I said. No. All caps. But right, all caps, and then you text her back. But you know how that go. But yeah, I just don't do it, especially in front of the kids, because I think that if you get to an altercation with someone while the kids are there, they taking you for child endangerment too. If I'm not mistaken, people if you know the law background a little bit. Type in there if you know that to be true. So now you got a domestic violence case. You got a child endangerment case. You got a couple cases. Let's not get stack deck on you. Let's not do it.
And she pressing charges, so
I do.
No, she's pressing charges.
Listen,
all that.
Listen, but the point is just don't do it.
Yeah, make it. Like I said, make it about the kids first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put your petty differences aside.
Ooh, that's from last episode.
Petty.
That's your favorite word, huh?
Don't be petty. Put your petty differences aside and just make it about the children. Make them priority one, and not about your feelings. Your feelings should never be priority one. It should always be about those kids. And I'm talking from the side of a child, because I've been through that. So it's like, well, you ain't got no kids. How you know? Because I was a child going through that situation, having a mixed parent situation. Right. So I know what it's like, and I seen the reverse effect of somebody going through that, and the boy's all messed up. His mentality is screwed. I'm just saying.
What about him is messed up? I'm curious. You ain't got to say his name or anything, but what about that person is messed up going through? Was it that the way the parents were together?
Well, put like this. One dude, he got this mentality that he had this whole mentality about child. His biggest thing is, oh man, well, she gonna put me on child support, man. Yeah. Just kind of. It's kind of hard to explain with him. It really is hard to explain, but you can kind of tell. Like,
so he didn't want to pay child support, or is he doing things?
He thought what he was doing was enough, and that he can.
But they always do, though, right?
yeah, and then
But when you seriously, okay, this is what I say. I don't know that guy, but okay, if he thought what he was doing was enough, then I don't know what kind of relationship he had with his child's mother. But
that's what getting with
the child's mother. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with getting with someone and say, okay, well, I'm giving you this. You say you need this. Let's see if it's daycare that we're paying for, because I know the daycare is crazy expensive. But what is it that what I'm lacking in? I think I'm telling you, when you communicate or you try to, you get somebody else to see, like, nothing, I'm not going to pay you. But what I'm saying is, if you need extra, what is it in extra that you need? Like, what is it that because maybe y'all can come up with something together. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's daycare, and let's say his mom don't work or something. Maybe his mom can take the child for certain days, or however that works. Having that kind of communication, because kids add up. Let me just say that kids will add up.
It's house note.
Ooh, it's expensive. So maybe having that communication, if he would have sat down with her and been like, okay, I know we may not be getting along, and I'm doing what I can do. What is it that I'm not doing, or what is it that the child is lacking, so that way we can have alternative methods. That might have been a conversation that he needed to have. Because I do know that some guys like this all I got. Like, I work, they take it out, the state take it out.
That's it.
Or maybe the state ain't involved. And like, I'm doing the best I can. And so if that's the case, have that conversation with the child's mother and say, hey, listen, let me tell you, this check, this check got to pay for this and this and this. Because listen, kids cost, daycare costs, there's a lot of things that add up. And then if you want your children in sports and to be entertained, it's all of that in there. So communication is definitely something you don't have to give into, you know, when you're dealing with kids. Kids cost.
Yeah, like I said, make them priority one. Keep your word if y'all are gonna.
Oh, that's a good thing. Yeah.
If y'all are gonna agree to something, just keep your word on what y'all are gonna agree on.
Keep your word to the kids too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
If you're supposed to show up, show up.
If you can't,
if it ain't life or death, show up. Because
listen, kids don't care about the whys or why not. Because if you can make it up, like it's been situations where you might can't show up and then you tell them and they sad and down, but just try to make that effort to show up. Because I'm telling you. Kids remember. They have like a mind like no other. Episode 6. I'm excited about episode 6. We're having our first guest, guys. And it's going to be an active police officer of a city. And so if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, anything you can think of off the top of your head, put it in the description box. Follow us on our social media because we're active on our social media. Like I said, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. You know, comment. We are coming to you guys to ask what questions do you have that if you ever come in contact with a police officer in a negative light, in a positive light, anything, traffic stop, anything, a domestic situation, anything you want to ask. Please, we just asking you to say something. Now is the time to say something. So voice what you got to say. Because we are going to ask those questions. Just be mindful that it's a person. And, you know, we're not trying to look. We don't want derogatory, like people cussing or anything. But definitely, you know, you have it's your floor. It's your voice. Ask whatever questions you want to ask, put it out there, and then if it's in a respectful manner, we will ask the officer that question. Like I said, this is an active officer, current officer in a city, and so I'm excited about having this person on. I'm glad we finally having a guest. Not finally, because you know we wanted to get a couple more episodes out there, but we're gonna have a guest talk about it, and we're just gonna try to dig into like situations. I think Cordero is going to put himself in certain situations and what should I do in this, or what does this mean? Because I think a lot of times we are ignorant to a lot of things, and a lot of times I think this will help officers kind of see how we look as a civilian, what we feel when we get pulled over, or you know if we come to ask you a question.
It's much going to be like you know, just the proper protocol. I want to know things like, what are they allowed to ask for? What things can we say no to? What things that are really allowed to do?
Right.
You know, when they pull you over. Just so you know, we want to get the story on both ends because you know the climate with police officers right now is really just is dangerous. So
right.
You know, when you get basically it's going to be once you get pulled over, things you should not do, things the cops are going to look out for. Maybe he think you put him in danger, or basically what the cops should look out for. As far, you know, civilian wise, and
it's not even getting pulled over, guys. It could just be anything. You could just be minding your own business, or if a situation occurs, or if you want to call the police on somebody. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to ask. This next episode 6, is meant to be informative. It's meant to be educational. Really, no question is off limits. We just want you to get out here and ask the questions so that we can ask the questions to the officer and find out, you know, what's the best protocol. Because like I said, like Cordero said, the climate is very dangerous, and if we can get some kind of communication going on, if we can address some issues that we're having, and I feel like it starts with talking and saying your questions. The more the merrier. Also, in closing this podcast, I just want to thank you so all the people who comment, who subscribe, who share our podcast. Thank you for listening. Until then, guys, see you next time.
Peace.